All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is hour number 2 of the Steve Malzberg Show. And as we've been talking about throughout most of the show, you know, you got Scott Walker announcing today that he's in the Republican mix. And you have new polls out showing that Donald Trump, including a HuffPo poll that shows Donald Trump is at the top of the heap with 17.7%, leading Jeb Bush. Here to help us sort all this out and much, much more is our friend Ben Stein, of course, film actor, author, and author of How to Really Ruin Your Financial Life and Portfolio, former speechwriter for Presidents Nixon and Ford. Hello, Ben.
How are you, sir?
I'm great. Thanks for joining us again. Always great to talk to you. So what do you make of Donald Trump and the weekend in Vegas and then the weekend in Arizona where he needed a bigger venue? A lot of Republicans, you know, have turned against him.
Well, I think he's a loose cannon. I think he's extremely dangerous to the party. I think he does capture a lot of the anger and frustration that the ordinary citizen feels. I think he is kind of like this generation's George Wallace, except without George Wallace's charm. And but I cannot see him doing anything but damage to the Republican Party, and I wish he would just take his marbles and go home.
And is it the language he used to describe the immigrant situation when he announced, or is it your take on Donald Trump in general?
Well, it's my take on Donald Trump in general. I don't think he's really sophisticated enough or subtle enough to lead a great power. I think his solutions are rather crude and broad gauge. I don't think the way he describes Hispanics is even remotely correct. I think by and large they're a very hard-working asset for this country, and I don't think the general idea of whipping up anger against any one segment of the population is a good idea. I think he's an energetic fellow, and I give him credit for that. I give him credit for his astounding amount of self-confidence, but he's a loose cannon. He's not going to do any good for the Republican Party at all. I think we have a real chance if we can get a Republican who's a centrist, well-regarded guy, Jeb Bush, Lindsey Graham, but I don't see, I don't at all see Donald Trump as the guy for us.
What do you think of Scott Walker, who announced today?
Very, very capable man, brave man, resolute man, thoughtful man, excellent administrator, fearless. I don't consider him a particularly great orator. I don't know how big a factor that is nowadays. I think it's a pretty big factor. But I think as a human being, he is very, very high up on the heap.
And as far as Jeb Bush goes, I mean, is this country ready for, for Bush, Clinton? I mean, is that really going to happen?
I think this country is ready for it, but I just wonder if Mrs. Clinton is going to be able to pull it out. I would bet you, and I'm not at all sure that I'm right, but I think if Joe Biden announced tomorrow, or if Elizabeth Warren announced tomorrow, they would just pull the rug completely out of Hillary Clinton. Her support is a mile wide and an inch thick. I don't think people find her particularly warm and cuddly. I think all this story about her lying about the Benghazi emails, lying about the contributions to the Clinton Foundation, they've left a mark. And the fact that she makes $300,000 in a night and then has the nerve to say that she represents the little guy, that doesn't go over too well. I mean, that's just a joke.
Let me switch gears and talk about Iran. Of course, this deadline, which is a joke of a word, has been pushed and pushed and pushed, and they were supposed to announce something today. That's what they said last night, and then still issues to talk about. Now we're hearing that a nuclear deal with Iran is imminent, and I'm afraid, because I know that some of the one of the outstanding issues was Russia insisted and Iran insisted that Iran be able to, the embargo on them dealing with weapons and getting weapons, including ballistic missiles, would have to be lifted. And if they're going to announce a deal, that means you could bet they're going to lift it.
This is a deal that is going to make Neville Chamberlain's Munich Pact with Hitler seem trivial by comparison. This is a deal which basically paves the way for Iran to become a nuclear power that can threaten the whole rest of the world with ballistic missiles. that has already pledged to annihilate Israel, that has pledged to, within its ability to do so, to annihilate the United States. The idea that we are signing a pact with a country which is proclaiming death to Israel, death to the United States, and we are signing a pact which basically allows them to get nuclear weapons and to get the means of delivery is simply astonishing. Now, everyone says, well, this is Nixon going to China. No, this is not Nixon going to China. China was already a major, gigantic power, and when he went to China, we got a gigantic strategic plus out of it, which was encircling the Soviet Union. There's no strategic plus in this for the United States. All there is just taking Iran, a meddlesome, dangerous, killer terrorist state, and making a nuclear power. People who want to die, people who have pledged to die in order to eliminate Israel. This is a scary group of people to allow to have a nuclear weapon.
Ben, the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, was up here earlier on the show, and he's of the opinion, and I think you are too, so I certainly am, that Barack Obama, don't call him dumb, don't call him ignorant. He knows exactly what he's doing, and I believe whether it's Iran and the Middle East as a whole, or whether it's here in the United States with whatever he's doing here to turn us around and fundamentally change us, he's not doing it because he's inept. He knows exactly what he's doing, and with Iran, he reached out to them the day he was elected.
Well, I don't think Mr. Obama really has fully positive feelings about America, despite the fact that America has given him every gift America can shower upon a human being, has given him every kind of affirmative action, has favored him, has pushed him forward. He still has racial animosity towards the United States, and I think he's a very dangerous person psychologically to have at the helm of the United States. I don't know that he really wishes well for the United States of America, and certainly does not wish well for Israel. Although his message on Israel is mixed. He just announced a significant armaments package for Israel, and I give him a lot of credit for that. But I do not consider him a person who really loves America. I mean, God bless him. I hope I'm wrong. I would love nothing more than to be proved wrong, but I don't think he is a full-fledged fan of America.
Just one more very quickly here. When that young lady in San Francisco was memorialized, the administration sent nobody. He to this day has not mentioned her name. When Margaret Thatcher died, he did not send an active delegation. When the 2 police officers were assassinated in Brooklyn, he did not send anybody to the funeral. And the list goes on and on and on.
Well, but he didn't go to the funeral of the people martyred in Paris.
Right. But of course, Hugo Chavez, he sent a delegation, an official delegation. Michael Brown, he sent 3 people. The guy in Baltimore, 3 people. Trayvon Martin, he sent a delegation. I mean, it's who he is.
I know he is not a friend of America, and he basically sees America through the prism of racist persecution, even though he has never had anything but racist favoritism in his life. I mean, he's never been the victim of racism. He's been the beneficiary of racial feelings, and yet he picks up somehow on this idea that he's a victim.
Yep. All right. I don't know if we just lost you, Ben, but either way, thank you, Ben Stein. Appreciate it. Always great to talk to Ben Stein. Folks, I've said all along that the Middle East doesn't look like it looks today because Barack Obama is inept. Barack Obama knows that ISIS is a threat. He knew it when he called them a JV team. Barack Obama knows we're perfectly capable of annihilating ISIS in a matter of months. But Barack Obama has used the excuse, well, they have civilians around them. So he's legitimized the use of human shields. He's handed over to the Muslim Brotherhood and the terrorists everything that they could get. And that's where we are. All right, up next, Stephen Moore of Heritage, folks. But first, Donald Trump continues to rise in the polls, as we've documented. Could he win the nomination? Does he have your vote? Please vote for your favorite candidate in the Newsmax poll. Go to newsmaxpolls.com to cast your vote. We are coming back.